I intentionally got all the extra credit questions right on the college entrance exam, just to stay far away from Liu Ruyan, the school belle. After I walked out of the exam room, Liu Ruyan's friends started teasing me. Zhang Xiaoyu, Liu Ruyan said she didn't do well in the exam. Remember to turn in a blank paper this afternoon, or you'll never get the chance to simp for her again. Then they burst into loud laughter. I looked at Liu Ruyan, who had a look of disgust on her face. I nodded and said, "Got it." But I thought to myself, whoever wants to be her simp can be her simp. I'm not serving her anymore. Right away, I called the butler to immediately cancel all funding for her family and kick the whole family out of our property. Furious, Liu Ruyan called me 99 times, but I didn't answer a single one. Now you know to panic, huh? Where was this urgency earlier? In my past life, I was the son of the richest man, but I madly simped for my driver's daughter. To marry her, I transferred the company my father left me to her, but she spent my money while dating another guy. She spoiled her boyfriend into a soft little boy, while she ordered me around like a servant. On her wedding day, I called her to borrow some money for medical treatment, but she said cruelly, "All these years you've been pestering me are literally my worst nightmare. Zhang Xiaoyu, just go kill yourself already." As I was on my deathbed, I looked at the woman holding me, and only then realized that the Beijing elite circle heiress I once rejected had been waiting for me this whole time. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in senior year of high school. That year, I was napping on my classroom desk when that scumbag Liu Ruyan woke me up. "Liu Jinian has an upset stomach. Go buy him some stomach medicine right now. Then go to the cafeteria to get food. Get more meat. He's too skinny. He needs to nourish himself well." Liu Jinian was lying on the desk at that moment, surrounded by a crowd of people fawning over him. Everyone felt bad for him because of his stomachache. And of course, Liu Ruyan cared about him the most. While I was Liu Ruyan's brainless simp, napping in class every day, running errands to get food and drinks for Liu Ruyan after class, realizing I had been reborn, and looking at Liu Ruyan's annoying face, I just found it ridiculous. Who does Liu Ruyan think she is to humiliate me like this? Seeing me standing there stunned, Liu Ruyan spoke up. "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and go, come back fast." After speaking, she walked to Liu Jingyan's side and gently patted his back. Liu Jingyan glanced at me at this moment and said to Liu Ruyan, "It's not good to make Zhang Xiaoyu go like this. I should go by myself." "What are you scared of? He loves doing this kind of thing. If I don't let him do it, he'll be unhappy, right?" She looked over at me. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and went to the cafeteria without saying a word. This time I stood in line and got 2 meals. A classmate next to me saw me and chuckled softly. Here to get food for school belle Liu again. But she likes Liu Jingnian. Someone as excellent as him. She won't ever like a loser like you. I asked in confusion, "What kind of loser am I?" He said scornfully, "Aren't you just a servant's son? You go to school with the young miss every day, and you fantasize that you can marry her. Wake up already. A stupid and useless guy like you can only be a servant for her family in the future. You'll wash her clothes, sweep her floors, and change her son's diapers." I laughed in anger. "Did Liu Ruyan tell you I'm a servant's son? I used to let her ride the car that takes me to and from school every day, only because I liked her back then. But now in other people's eyes, Liu Ruyan is the rich young miss, and I'm the servant's son." Seeing me ask such a question, he rolled his eyes at me. "What else? Hurry up and take the lunch to the young missy. Don't be late." He laughed again as he spoke. Everyone around was laughing at my simp behavior, laughing at my wishful thinking. The bell rang. I walked out of the cafeteria. I didn't go back to the classroom. I sat down by the flower bed and ate both meals. I couldn't remember the last time I had a proper meal. Because I had no money, I couldn't afford any good food at all. Every time I would go to the market when it was about to close, to pick up the vegetables no one wanted, meat. I never even dared to think about that. I finished both portions of food. That only barely eased my hunger. When I got back to the classroom, the first class bell had already rung. Liu Ruyan saw me walk in and asked angrily, "Why are you only here now? Where's the medicine I told you to buy?" "What medicine?" I looked at her coldly, with none of the usual warmth I had for her. Liu Ruyan stared at me speechless. "Where's the stomach medicine you bought for Liu Jingnian? I told you he had a stomach ache." "Are you deaf? You can't even do such a simple thing, right?" I glanced at Liu Jingnian, who was deathly pale. What relation do I have with Liu Jingnian? Why should I buy medicine for him? Liu Jingnian's family isn't well off. And ever since he met Liu Ruyan, she's been extra nice to him. Every time my dad gives me something nice, Liu Ruyan takes it and gives it to Liu Jingnian. Even the watch Liu Jingnian is wearing right now is mine. These two are swiping my card, spending my money, and enjoying everything that belongs to me. Yet they order me around like a servant. Liu Ruyan said, Zhang Xiaoyu, you're throwing a fit on purpose, right? If you keep acting like this, don't blame me for ignoring you next time. You'll be begging me to forgive you sooner or later. I stared at Liu Ruyan at that moment and found her words absolutely ridiculous. What do I need your forgiveness for? What did I do wrong? Seeing that I dared to talk back to Liu Ruyan, all the other students looked over. What's going on? That doormat actually grew a backbone. Liu Ruyan was also stunned for a moment. She looked at me, remembering how I used to beg her, and warned, if you have the guts, don't walk home with me this afternoon. I nodded. Sure thing, I said as I walked to my seat and sat down. It looked like I hadn't heard what Liu Ruyan said clearly, and just agreed out of nowhere. Wang Yan, Liu Jingyan's desk mate, saw this whole thing, and immediately stood up to play the moral police. Wait, Zhang Xiaoyu, what's your problem? We just asked you to buy some medicine, and you couldn't even do that. Can't you see Liu Jingyan is not feeling well? I glanced at her coldly. If that's the case, you can go buy it right now, Wang Yan answered confidently. This is your job to do. Why should I go? Liu Jingyan and I are not related in any way. Why should I buy it for him? Wang Yan pointed at me. You're the servant from the school bell's house. Isn't that only natural? At that mention, I looked at Liu Ruyan and asked, Liu Ruyan, did you go around telling people that I'm a servant from your family? And pointed at myself. Liu Ruyan felt a twinge of guilt. Of course, people saw her being dropped off by a luxury car every day and made that assumption themselves. She just never bothered to correct them. She could never tell anyone that her dad was just a driver and that she was the daughter of my family's driver. Now I'm the one being unreasonable here. Just then, Liu Ruyan walked over. We were desk mates after all. Forget about not buying the medicine. I'll go buy it myself later. Liu Ruyan thought that since I liked her, it was normal that I didn't want to buy medicine for Liu Jingyan. Liu Ruyan glanced at me and asked, Where's the food you bought from the canteen? Don't tell me you didn't buy food. You must have bought something, right? Besides, she heard from a classmate who was in the canteen that they saw me buy 2 portions of food just now. I answered calmly, I ate it. What did you say? You ate both portions. Looking at Liu Ruyan's slightly agitated face, I nodded. The student sitting in front of me heard this and looked at me with disdain. Are you a pig? You can finish 2 whole portions. They were used to sucking up to Liu Ruyan and looked down on me. Before, I thought they were all Liu Ruyan's friends, so I gave them face. I didn't want to offend anyone close to Liu Ruyan, hoping they'd put in a good word for me with her. Now I realize I was just too nice to them. Every time Liu Ruyan treated them to meals and stuff, it was all my money she spent. I said calmly. I spent my own money, let alone 2 portions. Even if I ate 20 portions, that's totally my right. The student sitting in front heard what I said, and their faces immediately turned dark. Finally, he mumbled under his breath. You say you're spending your own money. All your money comes from the campus bell's family, right? But Liu Ruyan next to me was already furious. What made her angrier was that I didn't get her any meal, so she hadn't eaten anything at all. Her rage just kept bubbling up. She snapped at me. Zhang Xiaoyu, you asked for this. I hope you can hold out more than 2 days this time. With that, she stood up, grabbed her belongings, and said to Wang Yan, Liu Jingyan's desk mate, I'll swap seats with you. You go sit with him. Every time he gets upset, he punishes me like this, refusing to be my desk mate anymore. After all, I was the one who begged him to sit next to me in the first place. He is basically my tutor. Sitting beside me, he can help me with my studies. But now that I think about it, Liu Ruyan never taught me anything at all. She only ordered me around every day. She still seemed to think this would scare me, but I just ignored her completely. Liu Ruyan didn't get to eat. Liu Jingyan was also feeling terrible from a stomachache. He sat aside, his face darkening, and glanced at me sitting by the window. Liu Ruyan was really angry this time. She thought when I came to apologize, she would make me know how tough she was. When school ended that afternoon, the Maybach sent to pick me up was parked at the gate. I walked straight to the car after leaving the campus. The whole school now knew I had offended Liu Ruyan, and were all waiting to laugh at me. When they saw me shamelessly getting into the car, they couldn't help pointing at me and whispering, Didn't he refuse to buy the campus belle a meal? How dare he keep freeloading off her family's car? He's just a servant's son. Does he actually think he's the master? Campus belle Liu isn't even here yet. How dare he get in the car first? Campus belle Liu is just too nice. If I met a servant's son, who is this arrogant and entitled, I would fire him immediately. listening to those mocking comments. I couldn't be bothered to pay them any attention. After getting in the car, I ordered the driver directly. Drive. The driver glanced at me. But Miss Liu isn't here yet. Let's wait a little longer. Sometimes, Liu Ruyan would be late because of student union affairs. I used to always wait for her back then. He thought he would have to wait a long time today, too. He didn't expect I would tell him to drive as soon as I arrived. Seeing the driver ignore my order, and even speak up for Liu Ruyan, I couldn't help but find it ridiculous. Uncle Liu, my dad only has one son, that's me. When did our family ever have a young miss? You had a fight with Liu Ruyan, didn't you? Uncle Liu asked with concern. Don't worry, young master. I will teach her a lesson later. No need, just drive now. I don't want to ride with her. I don't want to see her ever again either. Uncle Liu looked hesitant at this moment, and didn't listen to me. He knew exactly how scared I used to be of his daughter. Every time Liu Ruyan said anything, I never dared to talk back. Even if he didn't listen to me now, I wouldn't do anything to him. At most, Liu Ruyan would scold me a little, thinking that when I inherit the family property later, all that money would belong to his daughter. The driver no longer saw himself as a driver. He already started acting like my future father-in-law in advance. Are you going to drive or not? I frowned. Actually, my dad had wanted to fire him a long time ago, because he heard that the driver gambled privately. My dad thought a person like that was too untrustworthy to keep in the house, but I was being an idiot back then, and kept speaking up for him. I thought if he stayed, Liu Ruyan could stay at the Zhang family's house too, so I said a lot of good things on his behalf, and even said he treated me really well. That's why he has kept his driver job till now. I never expected he would now even disobey his own master's orders. They are here. Seeing Liu Ruyan appear at the gate, Uncle Liu hurried out of the car. Liu Ruyan was supporting Liu Jinian. The two walked to the car together. Uncle Liu opened the car door for him. Liu Ruyan was about to help Liu Jinian get in, because I used to like Liu Ruyan and wanted her to go home with me. Liu Jinian always rode with us every time. The driver would drop off Liu Jinian first, before sending us home. Not just that, he would also wake up super early in the morning to pick up Liu Jinian first. Before Liu Jinian could get in the car, I spoke up. Didn't you say you wouldn't go home with me this afternoon? You still want to ride in my car? The onlooking students saw this scene and couldn't help yelling insults. What's wrong with Jiang Xiaoyu? This is obviously the school bell's car, right? Yeah, how dare he stop Miss from getting in the car? Everyone was chattering non-stop. Liu Ruyan looked at me with a stiff expression. She had no idea what had gotten into me today, that I wouldn't take the out she offered me. Do you really have to do this? I've decided to forgive you for the noon incident, Jiang Xiaoyu. If you keep making a fuss like this, I said, I don't need your forgiveness. Go back by yourself. Don't even think about getting your way with me. Liu Ruyan's face turned pale, then green repeatedly. She also knew that in everyone's eyes, she had a rich second-generation image to uphold. If she didn't ride with me right now, wouldn't her real identity be exposed? She simply reached out and pulled me straight off the car. Then she let Liu Jinian get in the car. No way. Don't go too far. I admit I was really pissed off by him. I can't remember a lot of things that happened before. Now that I saw Liu Ruyan's true colors, I had no idea how I put up with her before, and even thought she was nice. Liu Ruyan ignored me. She obviously wasn't planning to reason with me either. She told her dad to drive. Uncle Liu actually drove the car away directly, leaving me standing there alone. The onlookers saw this scene and couldn't help laughing out loud. Well done, that's exactly how you should treat him. He's so unreasonable. I took out my phone. This phone was Liu Ruyan's, a cheap Nokia she bought herself for a few hundred yen, to suck up to her. I gave her the iPhone my dad got me for my birthday, and took this crappy phone of hers instead. Back then I thought doing this would protect her self-esteem. Now looking at this junk phone, I find it really ridiculous, but I still called my dad anyway. Not long after, the Maybach that just drove away came back. The car parked at the entrance again. Uncle Liu got out of the car. He looked a bit embarrassed when he saw me. Young master, judging from his look, he had clearly been scolded. Get those two people out of the car. I don't want to ride in the same car as them. Uncle Liu looked at the two people in the car. Liu Ruyan had already helped Liu Jinian get out. Liu Jinian didn't expect this to happen either. His face turned pale over and over as he looked at me. Jiang Xiaoyu, it's fine if you don't like me. But there's no need to target Ruyan like this, right? She's always been nice to you, hasn't she? Liu Ruyan immediately stopped Liu Jinian. Don't waste your breath talking to him. Seeing both of them get out, I got in the car then. Before leaving, I rolled down the window, waved at Liu Ruyan with a smile. Bye. Uncle Liu glanced at me through the rearview mirror. He didn't expect me to be this ruthless. He couldn't help speaking up. Arguing with people is totally normal, young master. Don't be too angry. I'll get Liu Ruyan to apologize to you later. It's just that she has no car right now. She probably has to take the bus by herself. And won't get home till who knows when. Everyone else can ride. She doesn't deserve to. Uncle Liu, have you forgotten who pays your salary? If you don't like me, why don't you just quit? How dare you tell me what to do? Just because I liked his daughter, he thinks he can look down on me. If I hadn't called my dad, he would have really left me stranded there today. After hearing what I said, Uncle Liu was so scared that he shut up immediately. When I got home, Aunt Jo saw me. Young master, why did you come back alone? Why didn't Miss Liu come back with you? I said, there will be no Miss Liu in our family from now on. After hearing what I said, Aunt Jo was stunned for a moment. Since when has our young master come to his senses? He used to be so nice to Liu Ruyan that the Liu father and daughter didn't even know their proper place. Aunt Jo wanted to say something many times before, but she never dared to, because I would get upset. This time, after hearing what I said, Aunt Jo was really touched. She looked at me. She was the nicest to me out of all the servants in the house. But before, because she always scolded Liu Ruyan for her misbehavior, I didn't like her instead. Later, after Liu Ruyan took charge of the house, Aunt Jo was the first one to get kicked out. Thinking about all the past events, and seeing Aunt Jo in front of me now, my eyes felt a little sore. I said to Aunt Jo, I'll go upstairs first. Aunt Jo said, okay, Miss Bai is here. I'll tell her to leave right away. Actually, Bai Ningbing comes to the house a lot, but she was the one my dad arranged for me. I like Liu Ruyan. I was sick and tired of Bai Ningbing. Every time she showed up, I wouldn't even see her. I'd just have someone send her away. So much so that in the end, I barely met Bai Ningbing a handful of times. I thought back to right before I was hospitalized. It was her people who took me to the hospital, and she still remembered she was my fiancé. I stopped Aunt Jo. I'll go see her. Where is she? She's playing with Da Bai in the backyard. I went to the backyard. I saw Bai Ningbing feeding Da Bai. I was the one who wanted to raise this dog, but Liu Ruyan said she hated dogs, so I stopped going near him. I never expected that Bai Ningbing gets along really well with Da Bai. She's wearing her school's blue uniform right now. It's such a plain uniform, but she makes it look so good. I remembered people talking about her before I died. Someone with her kind of background. Stayed single for so many years. My eyes turned red. After Bai Ningbing finished petting Da Bai, she looked up at me. She saw me standing at the door, with no idea how long I'd been there. She was about to walk over, but then remembered how much I hated her, and stopped in her tracks. Young Master Jiang, Bai Ningbing is really pretty, but she's very calm and steady. We're the same age, but she already looks like she's in her 20s. As for her grades, she's always been the top student in the province. She's the person Liu Ruyan hates the most. Liu Ruyan always said Bai Ningbing only did well, because her family gave her tons of study resources. That's why she's so outstanding. If I had the same advantages as her, I'd definitely be no worse than Bai Ningbing. Every time she saw Bai Ningbing's grades, Liu Ruyan would get really upset, so much so that I couldn't help but treat. Bai Ningbing is my enemy too, but when I thought about it carefully, we never had any interactions at all. When did she ever wrong me? Seeing her this time, I barely held back my emotions and asked, did you come to see me for something? Bai Ningbing said, I came to check on you. After she said that, she saw I didn't respond. Bai Ningbing got the hint and said, I know you don't want to see me. I'll leave right now. She didn't even think she'd get to see me anyway. She just wanted to come see Da Bai. She didn't expect I'd actually agree to see her. That was already enough for her. I saw she was about to leave. So I spoke up and asked, do you want to stay for dinner? Hearing that, Bai Ningbing froze for a second and looked at me in shock. Is that okay? The sunset was shining on me right then, making me look a lot more approachable. Of course you can. Liu Ruyan hadn't come back yet at this hour. She had to walk Lu Jinian home. If this was before, I would definitely wait for her to come back before eating. Seeing that I wanted to eat so early today, Aunt Jo was a little surprised. Aren't we waiting for young Master Jiang? Wait for him for what? All the servants at home were used to me simping over Liu Ruyan. Now that I'm not simping anymore, they're not used to it yet. Aunt Jo didn't ask any more questions. Okay, I'll go arrange it right now. Oh right, tell Uncle Liu he doesn't have to come to work tomorrow. Aunt Jo was stunned for a second. Then she realized what was going on. After all, you don't ask your employers too many questions. Yep, I fired Liu Ruyan's father. I just sat down in the Chinese dining room. Bai Ningbing was stealing glances at me earlier, and when she saw me sit down, She awkwardly looked away to the side. I didn't expect Bai Ningbing to be this innocent and shy. I couldn't help but want to tease her. Why aren't you looking at me? Do I look that bad? Even though my grades are terrible, I'm not bad looking. If Liu Ruyan hadn't screwed me over like that later, I never would have ended up like that. Bai Ningbing looked back at me and said, "No." She looked at me with a calm expression. But if you looked closely, you could see her ears were all red. I smiled and asked, "Oh right, I heard your grades are always really good." Faced with my enthusiasm, Bai Ningbing was still a little unaccustomed to it. "They're okay. Do you know any reliable tutoring teachers that you can recommend to me? After all, I can't count on Liu Ruyan for this. In this life, I don't want to repeat my last life's mistake. I used to think my dad could protect me forever, so I never even bothered to open my textbooks properly. Now that I still have a chance, I need to get my grades up. Bai Ningbing has access to great resources. If the teacher is recommended by her, it might actually work. You're looking for a tutor. That Liu Ruyan. She heard earlier that I had a tutor, who was also my classmate. That's why Liu Ruyan has been staying at my place this whole time. He got fired. Because Liu Ruyan looks down on me entirely. She never had any patience to tutor me properly. All the money I paid her was totally wasted. Bai Ningbing was a little surprised by this. She saw I was being serious, not like I was joking around, so she picked up her cup and took a sip, to hide how nervous she was. I don't have a tutor. I study all on my own. If you don't mind, I can come over every day to tutor you. She thought I probably wouldn't agree. After all, I wouldn't even spare her a glance before. The fact that I let her stay for dinner today was already a huge surprise to her. Little did she expect after hearing what I said. I looked totally overjoyed. Really? Bai Ningbing nodded, flattered by my reaction. If you're okay with it, I can do it. I said happily, of course that's okay. I just don't want to take up your study time. You need to study too, right? It's fine. Bai Ningbing didn't show much expression on her face, but her eyes were really soft. It won't affect my studies at all. She already finished all the high school curriculum ages ago, and she already has a guaranteed college admission spot. But she was scared I'd be annoyed, so she didn't dare mention it. I said, "Thank you so much then. My grades are terrible. Just don't make fun of me for being stupid, okay?" Liu Ruyan's grades are also pretty good, but she has zero patience with me. If it's the same problem, and I don't get it after she explains it once, she'll start yelling at me. My grades were average at first, but after she tutored me for a while, they actually got way worse. It made me totally lose confidence in myself. Don't worry, I'll come to your place after school every day from now on. The two of us were eating. I saw that Bai Ningbing was being really quiet, so I picked up my chopsticks and put some food on her plate. Make yourself at home. Don't be shy. Right at that moment, Liu Ruyan, who had just walked Liu Jinian home, walked in. She just got the news that her dad got fired, and her dad had yelled at her for it. She saw I was eating without waiting for her, and all the dishes on the table had already been touched. Her face immediately fell. I glanced at her coldly and kept eating. Liu Ruyan originally came to find me, to ask about her dad's situation. But when she saw Bai Ningbing here, she asked unhappily, "What is she doing here?" In the past, I would do anything to please her. I never got close to any other girls. Every time Bai Ningbing came over, I would kick her out without even looking at her. She never expected I'd let her stay for dinner now. I said, "She's my guest. Do you have a problem with that?" Liu Ruyan had to sit down and stared at me. "Did you specially invite her over to keep you company?" Just to make me mad. He knew perfectly well I hate Bai Ningbing. Every time there's a competition, if Bai Ningbing joins, I can never get first place. Not a chance. Bai Ningbing sat aside and didn't say anything. I looked at Liu Ruyan and said, "You're overthinking this. Liu Ruyan, you're not that important to me. I used to think this woman was my whole world. Everything I did revolved around her. But now that I get a second chance, all I feel when I see her is disgust and contempt. If I keep liking someone like her, it'll only drag my life into an endless pit of despair. If you think me hanging out with other girls will make me angry. Zhang Xiaoyu, you're definitely overthinking this. Seeing you being close with someone else, I actually wish for that. So you'll stop bothering me all day long." After she finished speaking, she went straight upstairs and went back to her own room. I was speechless. As soon as Liu Ruyan left, I could see that Bai Ningbing opposite me had a complicated look in her eyes. I explained, "Don't listen to his nonsense. She wouldn't get mad over this, right?" I was a bit unsure about it. To my surprise, Bai Ningbing didn't say a word about it. Her attitude seemed a bit cold. After dinner, I walked Bai Ningbing to the door. I looked at her and said, "Be careful on the way, okay?" She left without saying much to me. She seemed really quiet. I went back inside the house. Liu Ruyan came down the stairs. She had already taken off her school uniform. She only had a short-sleeved shirt on. Even though she did a lot of awful things later on, she really does have a pretty face. She looks gentle and quiet. I was fooled by this act of hers before. Right now, Liu Ruyan said to me, "Why did you fire my dad?" She didn't say this in front of other people just now, because she didn't want everyone to know she's actually just the daughter of the Jiang family's driver. Making a scene in front of Bai Ningbing would make her lose a lot of face, I said speechlessly. Why would I need to explain firing a driver to you? That's my dad we're talking about. Liu Ruyan said, I told him to do everything that happened today. He has nothing to do with it. If you've got the guts, come at me. You might as well fire me too while you're at it. The second she mentioned firing, I perked up immediately. I stared at Liu Ruyan. Sure. No problem at all. What did you just say? Liu Ruyan stared at me in shock, and I said, You've always thought I'm stupid, right? Since that's the case, we don't have to keep this up anymore. Move out of my house. I'll find another tutor. Ever since you started tutoring me, my grades have only gotten worse and worse. I don't think you deserve the high salary I'm paying you. Liu Ruyan thought I was just joking with her, but she didn't expect I'd actually fire her now and stop her from being my tutor. Your grades are bad, 'cause you're way too stupid. You can't even grasp the same problems that I explained once to Lu Jinian. He gets it right away. You're as dumb as a pig, and you're blaming me for this. It'll be the same even if you get another teacher. No one can teach you anything more. This is totally your own fault. Seeing that she was still trying to blame me. Just move out of my house. Jiang Xiaoyu, Liu Ruyan frowned tightly. You're still a student right now. You should focus on your studies. All you think about all day is dating me. No wonder your grades are bad. What the hell are you talking about? Liu Ruyan snorted coldly. These little tricks of yours are just because you're jealous? I'm close with Lu Jinian, right? Because I don't want to date you, so you're in a bad mood. But right now I just want to focus on studying and try to get into a good university. I'm not like you. Even if you don't go to school, your family still has more than enough money. So there's no way I can be with you right now. I stared at the woman in front of me and was a bit shocked. It took me a few seconds to process it. Who wants to be with you anyway? Wait, Liu Ruyan, where on earth do you get this confidence? Do you actually think I'd want to be with you? Without my attention, you'd be nothing at all. Liu Ruyan just thought I was being stubborn. Think whatever you want. But I have to warn you, if you invite Bai Ningbing over for dinner again next time, don't blame me for ignoring you, okay? She went straight back to her room after saying that and slammed the door shut. She's got some nerve. Does she think this is her own house? I went back to my room. Then I called Aunt Zhou. I instructed her. Aunt Zhou, move all of Liu Ruyan's things out of her room tomorrow. There's no room in my house for someone who tries to walk all over me. Then I got Bai Ningbing's phone number and saved it. And sent her a message, by the way. Did you get home safe? But she didn't reply. I woke up in the morning. Since I didn't have to pick up Lu Jinian anymore, I could sleep in as long as I wanted. I thought Liu Ruyan had already left. But when I got up, I saw her sitting at the dining table waiting for me. I found a seat and sat down and started enjoying my breakfast. Every day I rush to pick up Lu Jinian. I barely get to eat a proper breakfast at home. Right now I see Liu Ruyan waiting for me here. I look up and stare at her stubborn, unyielding expression. Even right now. She still seems to think I'm an idiot. After finishing my breakfast, I walk outside. Liu Ruyan follows closely behind me. The driver has been changed to someone else. He proactively opens the car door for me. I get in the car. Liu Ruyan gets in right after me. I look at her and say, Campus Belle Liu. What's this supposed to mean, huh? Didn't you say you wouldn't go the same way as me? What you said yesterday, I remember it perfectly clear. Liu Ruyan presses her lips tight and says nothing. If my dad didn't force me to make nice with you, I would never bother doing this. So what if your family's got a bit of money? You love throwing your weight around to bully others. What's so great about that? But her dad still needs this job. I don't bother wasting time arguing with her here. I tell the driver to start the car. We arrive at the school gate. I get out of the car. Liu Ruyan follows right behind me. When they came to school before, they always brought Lu Jinian along with them. Today, Lu Jinian came by bus on his own. When he sees Liu Ruyan, he hurries over to us. Lu Jinian's gaze falls on me. I made a whole scene yesterday. He still can't figure it out. The son of a house servant actually dared to act so cocky towards Liu Ruyan. Seeing Liu Ruyan coming to school with me, he asks, Did you two make up? I ignore him completely and head straight inside the school. Liu Ruyan stares at my back as I leave and sees that I'm not waiting for her at all. She frowns slightly and says to Lu Jinian, "There's no point in me arguing with him." Lu Jinian says, "No matter what. Letting the son of a servant walk all over you like this. You're way too nice. Right now everyone's talking about it, saying Zhang Xiaoyu is the real young master." Liu Ruyan says, "Don't care about what they say. My dad gets along really well with Zhang Xiaoyu. He told me to look out for Zhang Xiaoyu more. I can't just ignore him, right?" Okay, seeing that she's acting this way for her dad's sake, Lu Jinian feels a little relieved. I arrive at the classroom. Wang Yan is already here. She's blocking the seat and won't let me in, so I say, "Move out of the way." Wang Yan glances at me and speaks up. "You're so shameless. Yesterday you actually just left Campus Belle Liu and Lu Jinian there and told the driver to drive off without them." I stare at Wang Yan and let out a soft chuckle. "That's my own car. I have every right to refuse to give others a ride. It's none of your business. Who even are you?" Seeing me act so confident and unapologetic, everyone can't help but get curious. "Are you saying that Maybach belongs to your family? Who else's would it be?" I glance coldly at the person who asked that. Wang Yan snorts a laugh. "A loser like you. Zhang Xiaoyu, we all know exactly who you are, inside and out. You're still trying to act like the young master here. Do you even have the right to do that? Heard that driver is your dad. Your whole family works for the Zhang family. Campus Belle Liu is just too nice to call you out. Otherwise, she would have kicked you out ages ago. And you, don't push your luck too far." Wang Yan is really close to Lu Jinian, and Lu Jinian hangs out with Liu Ruyan all the time. After hearing what she said, everyone believes her story. Liu Ruyan and Lu Jinian have already appeared at the classroom door. Liu Ruyan's expression looks a little stiff, because what Wang Yan said wasn't actually scolding me. It was insulting her. She walks over and says to Wang Yan, "Go back to your own seat." Wang Yan glances helplessly at Liu Ruyan. She can clearly tell Liu Ruyan is unhappy, so she has no choice but to move her stuff away. Liu Ruyan sits down next to me again. In response to her action, I don't pay it any extra attention. After all, I don't care about what she does at all. She's the teacher's favorite, and she's really good with people. No one will judge her for switching seats. Wang Yan sits down next to Lu Jinian, and she's still pretty annoyed about what happened. Said to Lu Jinian, "Lu Jinian, what's Liu Ruyan's deal here? Zhang Xiaoyu's already walking all over him, and he's still protecting Zhang Xiaoyu like this. And now he even moved in with him." Lu Jinian said, "His dad told him to take good care of Zhang Xiaoyu. There's nothing more to it. Don't overthink it." "Oh, so that's why," Wang Yan said. "I knew there was a reason Zhang Xiaoyu was acting like this. He even claimed that car belongs to his family." Liu Ruyan's phone is obviously super expensive just by looking at it. The gift Lu Jinian got is also not cheap. And look at Zhang Xiaoyu's phone, it's almost the same as mine. Who would believe he's trying to pass himself off as a rich kid? I sat at my desk and secretly glanced at my phone. Bai Ningbing finally texted me back. It was just a one-word reply, She sounded so cold and distant. I couldn't help but recall that yesterday she treated me super nicely. But after she went home, her attitude turned cold all of a sudden. I sent the message last night, clearly, and she only just replied now. Liu Ruyan was sitting right next to me at that moment. She saw me checking my messages, and the contact name was still Bai Ningbing. She couldn't help but frown. Nothing had obviously changed at all. But starting from yesterday, she felt like I had turned into a completely different person. I took out my phone and texted Bai Ningbing, "Are you still coming for the tutoring this afternoon?" Bai Ningbing only replied with a single word again, As long as she's willing to come, that's fine." I didn't dwell on it any further. I was super focused in class. At noon, Lu Jinian came over to go downstairs for lunch with Liu Ruyan. Liu Ruyan glanced at me unconsciously and asked me, "Aren't you going to eat?" How focused I was today amazed Liu Ruyan. I didn't even doze off during class. Right now, I'm still carefully organizing my notes. She always joked that I only ever thought about her every single day. So it was a shock that I was actually studying hard now, seeing that I was still busy even after class. Liu Ruyan couldn't help but ask out of curiosity, but it was like I didn't hear her at all. I just straight up ignored her. Lu Jinian glanced at Liu Ruyan and said, "Zhang Xiaoyu isn't going. Let's go by ourselves. I'll bring him something back later." "No need." I turned down Lu Jinian's kind offer. Lu Jinian is a good guy. At least in everyone else's eyes. He always has been. So even when people make fun of him behind his back, Lu Jinian still stays optimistic and positive. But I don't want to owe anyone any favors. I packed up my stuff properly. Then I stood up and didn't go downstairs with them. Lu Jinian walked beside Liu Ruyan and said, "What's up with him? Why is he ignoring you? Did you do something to upset him?" Liu Ruyan was also confused. She also wanted to figure it out. No matter how cold she was to me before, I would always follow her around like a lost puppy. But starting from yesterday, even though she didn't do anything wrong, I've still been acting like this. It really made her feel... Lu Jingyan said, "Oh right, are you inviting him to your birthday party this weekend?" This week just so happens to be Liu Ruyan's birthday. Liu Ruyan celebrated her birthday at Huangting Hotel last year. I booked the hotel and took care of all the arrangements and told Liu Ruyan to invite all her classmates. The whole night cost hundreds of thousands of yuan. All the classmates who went kept raving about it. I used to think that attending Liu Ruyan's birthday party was a huge honor. It was supposed to be the same this year. A few days ago, I had already everything arranged properly. If I hadn't said I was going to fire him, Liu Ruyan wouldn't have thought anything of it this time. But after I said those things yesterday and acted so cold again today, she couldn't help overthinking things. If I don't go, then what's the point of having the birthday party? Watching my back as I walked further away, Liu Ruyan couldn't help comforting herself in her mind. Ugh, why am I even worried? He'll definitely come. There's no way he'd skip my birthday. Maybe he's acting cold on purpose, just to give me a surprise. Thinking of this, she relaxed a little. She said to Lu Jingyan, "He'll definitely come." Lu Jingyan said, "That makes sense. He's been at every single one of your birthdays." In the afternoon, Liu Ruyan and Lu Jingyan had to rehearse for the school anniversary performance. I didn't wait for her. I just went straight home. Bai Ningbing was already there. As soon as I got home, she and Dabai came over to greet me together. Seeing her standing right in front of me, I burst out laughing. Maybe it's our fate from a past life. That's why I always feel every time I meet her. It's so precious and hard to come by. Seeing the smile on my face, Bai Ningbing froze for a second. She was used to my willful and cold side. Lately, I've been all warm and enthusiastic, which always makes her a little shy and too nervous to look me in the eye. I looked at her and said with a smile, "You're here so early. Let's head straight to the study." I then led Bai Ningbing upstairs. When I was in class today, I realized there's a lot I don't understand. I figured I could ask you for help. The two of us sat down in the study. The seat next to me used to be for Liu Ruyan. But even when Liu Ruyan sat here, she never taught me seriously. She even thought I was wasting her study time. Bai Ningbing sat down next to me. She brought over 2 test papers to get a sense of my current level first. I finished the test papers carefully, then handed them to her. Bai Ningbing took the papers quietly and stared at them for a while. I felt a little embarrassed. "Sorry, I'm really dumb." "It's not your fault," Bai Ningbing said. "You just haven't found the right study method. I'll help you catch up on the basics first, okay?" I nodded in agreement. Bai Ningbing kept her head down the whole time she taught, not looking at me. She was explaining everything really carefully. But her way of working through problems was super easy for me to understand. A lot of things I couldn't figure out before, after she explained them to me, suddenly made perfect sense. Bai Ningbing taught for quite a while and felt a little thirsty. She just lifted her head when she noticed I was staring at her. She swallowed awkwardly, then looked back at the questions. "What's wrong? Do you have a question?" "I just think you're really patient with me. But why were you so cold over text? You only replied with 2 words the whole time. Is it because of the stuff between Liu Ruyan and me that you're upset with me?" Bai Ningbing denied it immediately. "No, my family came over yesterday, so I was really busy. I didn't have time to reply to your message. It was already morning when I saw it. If you ever need help with anything, you can call me anytime." Just as the two of us were busy studying, my phone suddenly rang. I quickly answered it. Liu Ruyan's voice came from the other end. "Jiang Xiaoyu, what do you mean by this?" What did I do now, hearing her accusatory tone? I had no idea what I did to upset her. Liu Ruyan said, "How dare you tell people to throw all my stuff away?" I couldn't help glancing at Bai Ningbing. I didn't hide anything from her, and said directly to Liu Ruyan, "I told you yesterday, you're fired. In that case, you have no reason to stay at my house anymore, right? I'm busy studying right now. Don't bother me." Then I hung up right away. Liu Ruyan stood at the door watching her. Luggage getting thrown all out at once. She couldn't believe I would actually do this. She's really kicking me out. I hung up the phone and said to Bai Ningbing, "Let's keep going." Bai Ningbing nodded in response. Not long after, the study door was suddenly pushed open. Liu Ruyan was standing at the door. She was furious. Her face was dark with anger. Her gaze landed on Bai Ningbing and me. There was a hint of contempt in her eyes. Seeing her show up here, I stood up and asked, "What are you doing here? Didn't you say you don't like me? Didn't you think I'm not good enough for you? Why are you clinging to me now?" Liu Ruyan walked forward. and asked in an accusatory tone, Zhang Xiaoyu, are you insulting me like this? Just for fun. Bai Ningbing stood up too. She instinctively stood in front of me to protect me. Insult you? I retorted angrily, seeing how mad Liu Ruyan was. Are you getting this wrong? When did I ever insult you? Liu Ruyan, I'm the one who got humiliated here, right? I'm the one paying for all your living expenses. Yet you hang out with Liu Jinian every single day. I followed you two around like a servant. I did everything for you, and had to put up with your cold attitude. How is that not humiliation? Now I'm just taking back everything I gave her. In his view, it's an insult to him instead. Liu Ruyan pressed her lips tight and stared at me. Don't think that just because you brought someone here, you can force me to do anything for you. I will never like you, nor will I ever date you. I'm telling you this straight up. She turned around and left right after she finished speaking, and ended up bumping into the door. I opened the window, which made a noise. After I watched her go downstairs, she picked up her luggage and left without any hesitation. That was pretty straightforward of her. Liu Ruyan has always been the super proud type around me, even though her family is poor. She has a lot of pride. No matter how nice I was to her, she never gave in to the temptation of money. That's exactly what I liked about her before. But looking back now, it just seems ridiculous. Bai Ningbing saw me standing by the window and spoke up. Jiang Xiaoyu? I turned around and saw Bai Ningbing was still there. Sorry, let's keep going. Bai Ningbing looked at me. Maybe I should head back first. You look like you're in a bad mood. No, I'm fine actually. I was just thinking about my past life, and some stupid things I did back then. I'm not upset over Liu Ruyan at all. Seeing how Liu Ruyan acted just now, I'm actually pretty happy about it, because at least now I don't have to feel anxious about my future anymore. Staying away from Liu Ruyan means I won't get sick in this life, and won't end up like I did last time, right? Bai Ningbing said, I should really head back first. She turned to walk out the door after saying that. I stepped forward and grabbed her hand. Bai Ningbing froze for a second. She turned around and stared at me. What's wrong? I don't know what I was doing either, but I'm not stupid. I could tell she was a little upset. Whenever Liu Ruyan shows up and says stuff like that, Bai Ningbing automatically tries to put distance between us. Liu Ruyan and I were really close before. I never hid the fact that I liked her. Probably everyone, even Bai Ningbing, thought that they all thought I was in love with Liu Ruyan, and to be fair, I really did like her once. If I hadn't ended up so miserably in my past life, I probably would never have woken up to the truth. Seeing Bai Ningbing staring at me now, I let go of her hand. Are you free this Saturday? I want to eat at Huangting Hotel. Want to come with me? The food at Huangting Hotel is super good. I starved to death in my past life, so now I just want to treat myself properly. If this was before, I would definitely have brought Liu Ruyan along. But now I'd rather ask Bai Ningbing to come. Besides, she's the fiancé my dad arranged for me. As long as I don't mess things up, I'll most likely marry Bai Ningbing after graduation. I used to think my dad didn't respect me. But looking back now, she's no less pretty than Liu Ruyan. On top of that, she's beautiful and comes from a good family. If she's interested in me, I'm the one who's getting the better deal, right? Bai Ningbing said, You're not going with her. She was talking about Liu Ruyan. I asked her back, So you really want me to be with her? You want me to avoid you like I used to? Of course not. Bai Ningbing shot back immediately. Then it's settled. See you Saturday. Saturday afternoon. I arrived a little late. I ran into a bunch of old friends at the entrance when I walked in. All of them were dressed up really fancy. When they saw me, Wang Yan, Liu Jinian's good friend, saw me and couldn't help snickering. Jiang Xiaoyu, you actually have the nerve to show up here. I frowned in confusion. Why wouldn't I be allowed to come? The owner of Huangting Hotel is good friends with my dad. I'm a super VIP here. I can come whenever I want. I'd like to know why I can't be here. Wang Yan let out a cold laugh. The past 2 days at school, the school belle Liu hasn't talked to you at all. Now it's her birthday, and you still have the cheek to show up. Oh, it's Liu Ruyan's birthday. Oh, right, today is her birthday. I've been busy with classes lately, so I didn't even think about it. If they hadn't reminded me, I would have completely forgotten. I already talked to the staff at Huangting Hotel before. This year is Liu Ruyan's 18th birthday. The year she turned 18, I threw her a super lavish birthday party at Huangting Hotel. It was such a grand event. But that was also the day I found out that Liu Jinian was dating Liu Ruyan. I went to confront him, but he looked totally unapologetic. Liu Jinian and I like each other. Why can't we be together? Zhang Xiaoyu, can you stop meddling in my business all the time? I got mad and ignored him after that. We ended up in a Cold War for 2 full days, but I still couldn't help apologizing to him first, and starting from his birthday. The two of them got even bolder and dated openly right in front of me. I had no idea what to do at that point. So I begged Liu Ruyan to be with me, to get her to marry me. I was even stupid enough to hand over the company. My dad left me, that's how dumb I was. Looking at the lively scene in front of me right now, I had no intention of talking to them. All of Liu Ruyan's arrangements at the hotel were planned entirely by me, so naturally I'm the one paying for everything. Now that I've come to my senses, I don't pay any attention to her anymore. How dare she bring all these people here to spend money? I'm kinda curious how she's gonna get out of this later. I ignored my classmates' taunts and walked straight into the elevator. I already booked a table with Bai Ningbing. I wonder if she's already here. As soon as I got out of the elevator, I spotted Liu Ruyan chatting enthusiastically with Lu Jingyan. He noticed me the second I arrived. Liu Ruyan's eyes immediately locked onto me. She said with a smile, "I knew you'd show up eventually." "I thought you really wouldn't come." Liu Ruyan walked towards me. She teased me, sounding kinda smug. "Didn't you say you wouldn't come?" "Humph, don't think that just because you're here, I'll forgive you for what you did before. Zhang Xiaoyu, I'm still mad at you. She's always like this, always forcing me to give in with her temper tantrums." I looked over at her. The corner of my mouth curled up slightly. "What do you want?" Liu Ruyan said, "Aren't you here for my birthday? Why would I celebrate your birthday? You didn't even invite me, did you? So many classmates came to celebrate your birthday. I'm sure you don't need me there, right? Zhang Xiaoyu, what is that supposed to mean?" Liu Ruyan looked at me, clearly annoyed. She thought I was still being stubborn, that I didn't even want to run into her on her birthday, and was just trying to make her mad on purpose. Right at that moment, the restaurant manager walked towards me and said to me, "Mr. Jiang, has Bai Ningbing arrived?" I asked, and the manager nodded his head. "She's already here. Please lead the way, thanks." "Sure." The manager was about to lead me to Bai Ningbing, but Liu Ruyan followed right behind me. "Zhang Xiaoyu, have you had enough of this nonsense? You're actually going to meet Bai Ningbing. Is she really that easy to push around?" I glanced at her. "I'm not the one causing trouble, you are. You told me not to cling to you. Said I was so annoying. Now I'm not clinging to you anymore. What's your problem now? Your boyfriend's still waiting for you, you know," I said as I glanced at Lu Jingyan, who wanted to follow, but thought better of it at the last second. Lu Jingyan had never seen Liu Ruyan act this forward with me before. Of course, I knew exactly why Liu Ruyan was being this forward with me. It's not because she can't bear to let me go. It's because she can't bear to let go of my money. She never liked me back then, but she took everything I gave her without a second thought. She'd say she didn't want to accept my gifts, but she was actually super happy to take them. Now that I'm ignoring her, she's starting to panic. After all, she's been planning this birthday party for so long. There's no way she'd let it end messily like this. Liu Ruyan said, "If this is about my relationship with Lu Jingyan, I can keep my distance from him. If I do that, can you stop acting like this, please?" For the first time ever, she actually chose to back off. That just shows how much she cares about this birthday party. Of course, she cares a lot about her reputation. She wouldn't have pretended to be a rich girl at school otherwise, and she wouldn't have invited so many people to come to her birthday party. Turns out she's scared of losing face, too.